We're going to welcome you to our Principals Podcast today. Our Principals Podcast has not been on the air for several days because it's leading to this moment. Today we are going to celebrate the Valedictorian and Salutatorians that we typically do during the Senior Awards presentation. Because the Senior Awards presentation is going to be done remotely tomorrow or basically at 7 or 6 o'clock on May 14th, we wanted to do this presentation where our students are able to recognize staff members. So tonight we recognize our salutatorians and our valedictorians, and it's going to be a great night for us to have them talk about the staff members that have influenced them throughout their life. So let us begin. I want to welcome, first of all, Mr. Bandera and Mr. Heim, who's here, along with all of our students. Tonight, we are going to begin by talking a little bit about our salutatorian. So today, we recognize our salutatorian is Allison Smrdel. And Allison is second in the class over these years, and she's going to recognize Mr. Meisen. So, Allison?
I'd like to thank Mr. Meisen for providing me with an endless amount of opportunities throughout my 4 years at CHS and for having the biggest heart in the building.
Thank you so much. We certainly feel the same way about Mr. Meisen. He has been a great friend to all of us and a great teacher to many of you. Now we get to the moment where we talk about our valedictorians. Our valedictorians, these students have been throughout the course of their academic year. They could have been taking high school classes since the 7th grade, maybe even 6th grade, and they have earned the mark of an A in every single one of their courses. Not only just their 20 courses that they took for graduation, many of them took up to 30 courses and earned the mark of a 4.0. We begin our valedictorians alphabetically with Gwen Avery.
I would like to recognize Madame Dalton as my most influential teacher throughout all my 4 years of high school, especially for her largest heart. She is one of those people who asks you how your day is going, and she genuinely wants to hear your response. I wouldn't trade my time in her class for anything in the world, and that's why I've chosen to recognize her tonight.
We appreciate all of the things that she has provided and, of course, all the work that you have done at Chardon High School.
Our next valedictorian is not able to join us this evening, but it's Sara Bennett. And Sara would like to recognize Mrs. Jeannie Clark and Dr. Rebecca Schneider as her most influential teachers at this time.
Our next student is Whitney Beorn.
Oops, I'm moving too fast. There we go. So Whitney, I'm moving with a slow Chromebook. I apologize. So Whitney is not able to join us today as well, but Whitney would like to recognize Mr. Alan Herner and Mr. Fritz Streif as her most influential teachers here at Chardon High School. Congratulations, Whitney. Chris Carter would be our next valedictorian. Chris is unable to join us tonight as well, but Chris would like to recognize Mr. Joseph Ritchie as his most influential teacher. Lots of math and science so far in this presentation.
And now we have Natalie Dumm here tonight, and she is going to speak on Mr. Brown.
I just wanted to thank Mr. Brown because he taught me way more than math. He just taught me how to have fun while learning, and I like him a lot.
Mr. Brown is a rock star. We certainly love him too. And the next valedictorian up is Lauren Dvorak.
Am I muted? No. Okay.
Not anymore.
Okay, so I'd like to recognize Signora Castro for being one of the best teachers I've had in high school and just throughout the entire 4 years. I had some of my best memories in her Spanish classes, and I wouldn't be the person I am today without her help. Senora, thank you for all you've done, and I'll miss you tons.
Excellent. Great job, Lauren.
Yes, and Mrs. Karenke is, we graduated together in the same class in 96. Tonight we also recognize Mitch Waska, and I believe Mr. Bandera, he is unable to join us this evening.
That is correct. Mitchell is not able to join us this evening, but we wish congratulations to Mitch.
Our next valedictorian is Alisa Fisher.
I would like to recognize Senora Cranky because I have had her as a teacher for 3 years, but I really got to know her this year. She has always reminded me to stay positive and not worry about all the little things, and she is always guaranteed to make me laugh. She's so kind and caring, and I will miss her so much.
That's just like our last reminder of Signora Karenke. She is full of energy, and she was the most humorous person in the class of 1996, as recognized by her peers. Natalie Forman, you are up, and I don't know if Luke's still by you, but this is your show tonight.
I would like to recognize Mrs. Clark and Mrs. Tasnick because they both taught me so much in and out of the classroom. And they both helped me with my letters of recommendation and provided me with so many amazing opportunities that helped me not only with high school, but with my future and with numerous activities outside of the classroom. And although I did not have either of them as my teacher this year for senior year, they both said hi to me often, and we chatted when we passed each other in the hall. And so it was great to keep in touch. And I hope to do that after high school. So thank you both so much. I'll miss you.
That's awesome. Jenna Goodwin.
I'd like to thank Mr. L because over the last 4 years, he's taught me more than I ever thought was possible. And he's given me the best advice that I will use throughout the rest of my life.
And there's no doubt that he has an infectious laugh that you can hear for miles. You don't have to be in Park Auditorium to hear that laugh. He is an awesome guy. Elizabeth Love, you are now up.
I'd just like to thank Mr. Ritchie. I haven't gone to the high school in 2 years, but when I was in his math class, he taught me to love math and always had encouraged me, even though, sometimes I thought I wasn't the best at it and didn't ever think I'd get to be valedictorian. So, yeah. And that's
awesome.
mostly to Mr. Ritchie.
Megan McCartney.
I just wanted to thank Miss Fisher for helping me to become a better person. She helped me to develop the drive and perseverance that got me to where I am today, and I just wanted to thank her for everything that she does.
Excellent.
Kaylee Malloy, you are up.
I just wanted to thank Mrs. Blackburn for just supporting me in all of my projects. Ever since junior year, when I really took interest in getting involved, she was just there every step. And there aren't that many people that I know that would fly across the country with me 2 times to just support my projects that I got her involved in, which is what the picture's from. So I just want to say thank you for her support.
And Mrs. Blackburn is one of those people who definitely lives that H part of our core values, the humility part. It was like pulling teeth trying to get a picture of her. She finally did send me a picture of her, but would not send me a picture of just herself. She had to include many others in that picture because she's a very humble person. So thank you, Kaylee and Mrs. Blackburn.
So much an influence on all of our lives, no doubt. Hannah Means, you are up.
I first want to recognize D-Rob. It doesn't fit to call him Mr. Robertson, but I've actually known him since I was 10 years old, and he not only taught me how to play tennis, but he taught me that astronomy was what I wanted to pursue, which is why I want to pursue astrophysics in the first place. And whether you want the advice or not, he'll give it to you, and he's very honest, and I think he deserves more credit for what he does. And I also want to recognize Miss Fisher because she gave me a second chance, which she never had to. And she helped me when my migraines and vertigo were the worst they ever were. And she really just stepped up and helped me realize that I love math as well, and that's why I'm pursuing astrophysics in the first place.
That was about a year ago when it hit you pretty bad when you were doing the freshman mentoring boot camp kind of retreat there at Maple. I remember that.
Yeah.
Great selections. Claire Myroff.
I just wanted to thank Mr. Strife because he was the reason I got involved with music and why it has become such an amazing part of my life. And apart from everything he does with music, I wanted to thank him for being so accepting of all of his students, always checking in on everyone's mental health and being the best person to go to for advice. And music will always be a safe haven in my life because of him, so I'll miss him a lot.
That's awesome. Marissa Organischek.
I just wanted to thank Mrs. Clark for being such a kind and caring teacher and instilling a love of chemistry in me.
And it looks like Marissa will be pursuing that in the future as well.
Yep, for sure. Maya Peterson.
I also wanted to thank Mrs. Clark for everything that she's done for me and for always seeing the best in me. Mrs. Clark, you always have your students' best interest in mind. In the past few years, you have unlocked my full potential and showed me how to be more confident in my ability in all aspects of my life, and I'm going to miss you really a lot, so thank you.
She is a rock star. I believe Lauren Phillips is not here tonight, correct?
Yes, Lauren was unable to join us tonight, but we definitely congratulate Lauren and looking forward to seeing great things from her in the future as well.
No doubt. But Carly Piernot, you are here tonight. We've seen a lot of you lately.
Yeah. I just wanted to recognize Senora Karanki. She is the reason that I've decided to minor in Spanish next year. And also she's just been a constant in my life throughout the past 4 years of high school, whether that be from her class or in student council. She's so thoughtful and caring. She checks in literally almost every day. And overall, I just want to thank her for being the best. And high school wouldn't have been the same without her.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Grace Powell.
All right. So I picked Mrs. Clark because I'd never done anything with chemistry, and then she taught me and I fell in love with it. So I decided to major in chemical engineering. And I also wanted to tell a funny story. So I sat in the back of the class in AP Chem, and I was raising my hand for like a good couple minutes, and then Morgan Dennison raised her hand, and Mrs. Clark was so invested and interested in what she was writing on the board. She had no idea any of us are raising our hands for like a good 5 minutes until I just go, Mrs. Clark, and she turns around, she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. It was just, that's it. Yep.
Do you know where she learned that from? She learned that from Mrs. Rohr, because she was the same way. She was so invested in, and she found humor in her own writing on the board. And I totally see it. Mrs. Clark is awesome.
Excellent.
Noelle Rosic.
I'd like to recognize Madame. Thank you for being not only a great teacher, but a great listener and shoulder to cry on. Thank you for making my high school experience a little better every year, despite only having you for 2. I appreciate that you care so much, and that's something I'll never forget.
Excellent. Madame is definitely someone that always shows that kindness to everyone in the building.
For sure. Marissa Sabo.
I couldn't decide, so I decided to recognize both Mr. Brown and D-Rob, and I always joke that they were the same person anyways. I wanted to thank them for being not only a teacher and a coach, but also a friend. I knew I could go to both of them for advice or even just to put a smile on my face with their jokes. And I wanted to let them know that I appreciate them probably more than they know and way more than I let on, so thank you.
Mila Stropke.
I'd like to thank Mr. Cole because not only is he a great teacher, but he's such a good friend to all of his students, and he always cracks up me and the whole class. And I'd
had some of the best and the most fun memories in his class, and he really truly cares about all of his students, and he makes that known to everyone.
Milo, were you someone that signed up for Mr. Cole's topper times over the years?
No, I wish I would have though.
I always laughed because I said Mr. Cole could propose any topper time, such as reading the yellow pages of the phone book, and he would have 30 kids sign up within a matter of 5 seconds. So, yes, definitely a great teacher at our building.
For sure. And I believe Jude's not here, correct?
Yeah, I believe Jude was unable to make it tonight, but Jude did want to recognize Madame Dalton as well as one of his most influential teachers. And I'm sure some of the things that were said about her already, Jude would definitely echo those comments tonight.
So I'm going to get out of grid view here, or get back into grid view so we can see everyone one last time. And I believe somewhere in this grid is Mr. Hyam. And so I want to kind of go over to Mr. Hyam to kind of have some final thoughts for our salutatorian and our valedictorians.
I think this is just an absolute amazing night to hear from our students. Oftentimes we don't hear from our students about specific teachers, what makes them as wonderful as they are and brings the best out of our students. So it was enjoyable to hear, and we're very fortunate and lucky to have the faculty that we have at Chardon High School.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Bandera?
I just want to congratulate this group here. I mean, we have a phenomenal group of students, especially this year. I think I was joking with Carly about this morning how there are so many of us, so many valedictorians and salutatorian this year, and I love that. I think it's definitely phenomenal. It shows how hardworking this class is. I've said it a couple different times. This class has a soft spot for me. You guys were my first class I came in as assistant principal for, and it's been great watching this class grow. And I know I'm gonna hear from many of you in the future, especially the group of young ladies who are here right now. So congratulations to all of you.
Yeah, I agree with everything that was said tonight. You wouldn't even imagine that back in the fall when we were putting together our first rallies to our games, to all the different events that we've gone to, that no one would have guessed that in March that we would have been online for the duration of the school year. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of all of our students. I'm proud of our staff. I think we have done, we've set the tone for how to do remote learning for ourselves in the future, and if for just how to handle a crisis. But I can't tell you how much I care for you and love you so much. Same goes with Mr. Hyman Bandera. We just love kids. And for all of our listeners out there, you're done with school and it is like 7 p.m. and you're still here to talk about school. There's a lot of great things coming up this week, a lot of great things. And it's in the words of Mr. Armelli, we are going to make sure that it is a beautiful day with all the things that we're going to do on Saturday, and certainly all of the things that we're going to put together for the rest of your senior experiences. So we appreciate all of you. We thank you. And this will be embedded throughout the course of our senior awards. Tomorrow, you can certainly watch this during YouTube Live. You can. It's not a Google Meet. It's a YouTube Live. You will watch it that way. We will have the presentation going throughout that. And we will see every single one of you throughout the course of 10 hours on Saturday. But we see this group at like 7:30 in the morning, right, Mr. Iam? Something like that.
We do. Thank you for sharing that. If you guys are able to, and you're up and ready, please come up to the student lot before 7:45. We would love to have you at closer to 7:30 to get you in line to get started. I know it's early, but if you come at 7:45, that's completely fine as well. But if you're up and ready and itching to get out of the house, we'll be ready for you.
No tardies.
No tardies.
We don't have to worry about that. Anyway, If there's anything else you guys want to add, you feel free to. Otherwise, you enjoy the beautiful night that we have, and certainly enjoy the beautiful week that is going to be planned for you. Thanks for all that you've done for the last several years. We're looking forward to seeing what you have set forth for the future. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.